Yeah, very good. Yeah.
We weren't Marxists.
No.
You can tell from my voice, can't you?
Well, there are Marxists with voices like that.
I know, I believe there are.
I mean, the only thing I knew about Marx when I was young is that he said you had to go camping.
Did he?
And especially in places where it rains a lot, like the North York Moors and Wales, because that's what we had
I
to
think
do.
your parents lied to you a lot.
Whereas my mother said Jewish girls don't sleep on the ground. So I never went to guide camp after that. That was put
Where were
to
you
that.
supposed to sleep?
Well, I suppose in a bed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I wanted so much to sleep on the ground. You know, I wanted to go to guide camp.
Well, you could have come camping with us.
Didn't know you then. You
No.
were another kind of Jew.
Yeah. And I'm 5 years younger than you, so you would have been a big girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Who I used to look at with amazement. Big girls. I used to think, extraordinary. How does it all work? Do you know what I mean?
I remember the first time I saw a boy standing up in the loo, and I thought, what's he doing? This is ridiculous. I must have been about, I don't know, 7 or 8. And I never saw Daddy naked, ever.
Oh.
No, never. Mummy, absolutely all the time, because she did the housework in the nude. But
Did she?
yeah, yeah.
Is that the Jewish thing? Is it a Jewish thing?
No, it was because she belonged to the League of Health and Beauty, which was a fascist organisation.
I was going to say, it sounds a bit Leni Riefenstahl.
It was. It was.
But wasn't it? You also you wouldn't get dust on yourself if you were naked. You could.
I think she thought, as did the League, that having air on your skin was good, and so living in Oxford, it was tricky.
Very good. Were they religious, your parents?
Daddy was religious, but Mummy never was, and I am now militantly anti-religious. I mean, I hate God, and yet the funny thing is that there's so much about being Jewish that I love. I love the food. I love the jokes. I don't love the history, but I'm glad I'm Jewish.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I mean, obviously with me it was more of a choice, really, an affectation in a sense. I mean, my mother talked every day about being Jewish, and so I think that qualified. But also, I just thought it was a great thing to be, really. I just thought it made me different, especially in Liverpool.
I think it's exotic.
When I was at one school I was at when I was 7, and I was actually kidnapped. A boy came up to me in the playground and he said, "You are, aren't you?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Jewish." And I said, "I think so." And I went home and checked. And I went back and I said, "Yep, I am, just to be absolutely sure." And he said, "Well, my mum says that you've got to come to Cheder. You've got to come to Hebrew classes." And so I went back to my mum and I said, "Peter in the playground says that I've got to go to Cheder." And Mum said, "Oh, that's nice." So my communist, atheist Jewish mum then said, "Oh, that's nice," as you would, as a nice Jewish mother, what your little boy wants to do. So off I went to Cheder. And so I started going there with lovely Peter's mum, who I thought was nearly as beautiful as my mother. Mostly, you'll be pleased to know, Miriam, because of the size of her bosom. So I know you have views on that. And I thought she was absolutely marvellous.
Do you still go to Yiddish
every
class?
day? Well, I've stopped the Yiddish class for the moment, but every day there's a thing on Facebook.
Online, yes, on Facebook.
There are Yiddish sayings and so on, and I translate them. Yes, every day. Today it said, "Ich hab lieb gehat gelebe." And I read it in all the Hebrew letters. I felt so proud on the way here, actually. It was in the car. Just going, it said, "Ich hab lieb gehat gelebe." I love chopped liver.
I should know that one.
Yeah, and I replied underneath "mich euch." That means me too.
My mother reckoned that she could speak German because she'd been brought up in a Yiddish household. But in fact, when I think back on it now, it was just her, because we travelled all over Europe because my dad worked on the railway, so we got free travel. But now I just realised it was her just screaming at people.
No, my mum had the same thing, because we landed in Germany, 1957, East Germany, of course, commies, East Germany in Weimar, and we sat down at a table like this. Okay, I can just remember it. And about 5 minutes in, my mum looked up and said, I can understand everything they're saying. And me, little snobby boy child, said, no, Harold, as we had to call our dad by his first name because it's communist. So he said, equal, all for the collective. I said, no, Harold speaks German because he was stationed in Germany at the end of the war. Mum said, no, but you don't know. Yiddish was my first language. And we said, was it? And she said, yeah, for the first 5 years of my life, that was the language I spoke. I only started speaking English when I went to school. And we never knew that my mum had this secret life inside it, because she would say Yiddish words. She'd say, you don't want to go out looking like a schloch. And I would
Mummy
say,
said that
and
to
I'd say,
me.
what's a schloch? And she'd say, well, the thing you don't want to look like.
Yes.
Or she'd say, this room is a Mischerdemonk. And we'd say, what's a Mischerdemonk? And she'd say, well, this room. That's the way
Well,
she was.
Yiddish has had an effect on my life too, because my father spoke Yiddish, and he was a doctor. And in Oxford, Isaiah Berlin brought his parents over from Riga, and they only spoke Yiddish and Russian. So they signed on with my father. Mummy got to hear about this, and somehow, although she'd left school at 14, really wasn't very well educated, but she knew that Isaiah Berlin was an important intellectual.
Yes.
And so when it came time for college entrance for me, she said, Joe, I want you to invite Isaiah Berlin to supper, and I'll cook a lovely meal, and we'll get him to sponsor Miriam. But he spoke English.
Well, very writer, but totally in downtown. I know that you were there with it, and that which have just height.
You couldn't understand a word he said.
Yeah.